Now, let's see what we can find to eat in this garden. So, if we look down here, we can see some leaves with red stems. They've got wire netting on the top. That wire netting is to stop rabbits and foxes trying to eat them before I can eat them. Now, if I pull, and if I lift up, what do we find? We find a beetroot. Beetroots are sweet vegetables, and that I shall eat tonight. The green leaves beyond, they are green chard and taste a little bit like spinach. But down here, we've got a lettuce. It's not yet big enough to eat, but it will be. Whereas up here, look, all the way up, follow this, big leaves, and it's so heavy, it's leaning over. This was a sunflower. Look at the yellow petals. It was full of yellow petals, but now it's full of seeds. And what I can do is to dry those seeds and eat them through the winter. Or I could leave the seeds there and let the birds eat. We'll have to see whether the birds get it or whether I get it. Now, here we have courgettes. Let's have a look at this courgette. There, can you see the courgette? That is put into stews or soups or just fried and eaten on its own. Before the courgette, we have the flower. When the flower dies, then the courgette appears. So first the flower, and then, let's move the leaves, the courgette. But sometimes the animals get in and eat the courgettes before I have a chance. Now, moving around here is a very tiny squash. It's tiny because although it's very wet now, previous to that, before this, it was very dry, and so the squash didn't grow to be very big at all. But I find it quite beautiful to look at. Now, over there, you can just see the head of what was an artichoke. An artichoke, sometimes people eat it, but they have to dip it into a sauce. I prefer not to because I like the beautiful purple flowers that it has. But they've finished now and there's just the one head left. Let me just scrunch this back up and turn to look down here. This is where my strawberries were. Now the strawberries have all been finished, but next year there are many more plants, and so I ought to be able to get many more strawberries next year. This is one of my favourites. These are blackcurrants. I think there's just one blackcurrant left. I've picked most of the blackcurrants off. Excuse me 1 minute. I've picked most of the blackcurrants off, but I think there's one. Can we find it? I'm going to have to pick it off and show you. That's not working.